So today on How Do You Hustle, I'm very excited to be joined by Jenna, who is from P Mami Industries. She's known best for her presence on social media and her businesses, which involve Plant Mama and also working on pasta clubs and Pasta Mama. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So, for anyone listening that doesn't know, tell me about your career and like what it kind of looks like for you in a nutshell.
So I actually went to uni and was a PE teacher, a high school PE teacher. Hence why I dress like a PE teacher all the time. Like I'm like, did I just get that $40,000 degree just to work out what my daily style is? Like I sometimes I think. So I was a high school PE teacher for about 6 years. So I think I've realized I definitely have like a 6 year interest loop. So like I left teaching after 6 years. I kind of left Melbourne just after 6 years. I left my first business up. Not like it just that I kind of get bored every 6 years. So I was teaching and I just, yeah, I think I realized that all the other early career teachers and I were not aligning on how much effort we were putting in. And I was like, I don't think this is like what I'm meant to be doing. So I always had in the back of my mind that I can come back. Like I was always like, okay, well, with, I mean, obviously not everyone could go back to the job once they've left it. But in my head, I was like, well, I'll just go back to CRT and then I'll get another job. If I left and tried something else and it didn't work, I'll just come back. So I basically left teaching and started, well, I didn't leave. I left my full-time teaching role and then went and started Plant Mama, which is my first business in 2017. And so basically just building like indoor plant jungles in like cafes and homes and hotels and stuff, just because there wasn't that in the market. There was obviously outdoor gardens and stuff. And it just honestly, the universe and the timing was that I started that literally at the start of when plants came into the vortex of being cool again. So that was just a perfect alignment of like gap in the market and trends kind of going off at the same time. And because I had a photography business when I was like 18, from day one of starting Plant Mama, the content was always really strong. It was really like, you know, I feel a little bit separated from that time when I started it because it was so hard. Like I was working, 8 days a week. Like it was unbelievable trying to get that off the ground. And obviously I'm on the back end of reaping that now, but at the time it was just like so hardcore. And then so I basically started the business at the same time that I was an Uber driver. I nannied 2 days a week. Then I did CRT. Then I was a waitress on the weekends. And then I worked at the market selling kombucha on Saturdays. Like I basically did the two things at the same time. And then eventually I like dropped more things and then Plant Mama got busier. And then I kind of threw all in, went full time on Plant Mama. And then, yeah, kind of got bored again. And essentially just, I don't like to recycle my ideas. So it's like I felt like I had done so many of the plant jobs that I wanted to do, or the ideas that I had, and then I just kind of got itchy and then essentially turned what my other pleasure or enjoyment of food and pasta and dinner parties and sharing food and stuff, then turned that into the second business, which is Pasta Club, Pasta Mama. And then that's like its whole other thing now. And then I have Sheila's Club, which is just on pause at the moment, just because I was like, I can't do all these things. But that has a space and it has something there, and it, I had to make the decision to go like that is something, and I can see that it has value, and I will take that further. And we registered the business and we did a few sessions, but I was like, that just needs to like take a moment, and then I'll come back to it when I can give it everything that I have. So Pasta Club is definitely the thing at the moment because it's really taking off. But Plant Mama still does jobs and we still have like staff that run all that stuff. But I'm just kind of like, yeah, figuring it out every day as it goes.
Plant Mama was obviously your first business, and you kind of did touch on how that started, but like what actually, I guess, what was that feeling that drove you to take the leap and start it? Like what was maybe some of the first steps?
Look, I think one thing I will say, which will give hope out to my little homies out there, is that when I arrived in Melbourne, I literally knew my brother. That was it. I didn't know anyone. I knew fucking no one. And I'm saying that because people might look at the connections I have now and like who I've done pasta clubs, who my friends are, who I know, like in, you know, like those worlds, and think that like there is a level of privilege or that those doors were opened for me beforehand. But I cannot stress it enough. I came from literally, like, I went from Toowoomba, which where I grew up, to Brisbane to go to uni, and then I moved to Melbourne. And I moved there with my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, but boyfriend at the time. But I literally knew my brother. So like anything that I built, I literally built from myself. I did not know anyone except we stayed at his little shitty apartment. It is huge because the thing about Melbourne and Sydney, which I have learnt just by living in both, is that it really is they're connective cities. You know, everyone knows everyone. It's very much like, you know, oh, I know that person can help you out. And, you know, to break those walls actually can be quite hard because most people in those worlds that you want to do work in have already, you know, their own connections, or they know people that know people. So, you know, to still be getting invited to go cook at things, and like, you know, I got an email last week to do a pasta club for someone I would literally die to do it for. And the fact that I'm on their radar is unbelievable. And that didn't come, that came through the website. That's insane. Like that, it was just like, what? And even, you know, the fact that like we were in Architectural Digest and Vogue and all that kind of stuff. Like I built all of that on my own. And that was because from the start of Plant Mama, I had known like just a few key things that were so important. And that was because my mum had a small business. So like I also come from Toowoomba, which is like Toowoomba's community. It is that, you know, when you come from those places, it's really like small business and support and all that kind of stuff. So I felt like I knew, if I really simple it down, because I could give you literally 10 tips, I would say there are two things that I knew that I had to do when I started Plant Mama. And that literally came from where I grew up with my parents and all that kind of stuff. And the first thing was like relationships, building relationships, like that. Number one, like, yes, I might only come and do an install once at an office at a lawyer's firm in Collingwood, whatever, but I normally have built like a really good friend. I would bring, you know, depending on who the person was, I'd bring like mango beers to the meeting on Thursday at 4 p.m. I'd like ask about their kids, or how long have they lived in. Like I saw my mum do this really amazing thing when I was young. Because she had a business. She actually had. I've turned into my mother. She had an event business. So she was a life coach for Anthony Robbins, and she had an event business. And I remember like going with her like on school holidays or whatever, with whatever she was doing, and we would like, I would go with her to like, she'd go to like the what's an example, like the party hire place where you get like the, you know, the tent and the stuff for the stuff she was organizing. I would go with her and we would walk into the reception and she'd be like, "G'day, mate. Hey," she'd be like, "G'day, like, you know, g'day, Pete. How you going? Like, how's your wife? And like, how's your thing? And oh, g'day, mate." And she'd have a laugh and they'd have a joke going on and blah, blah, blah. And she'd spend like 10 minutes, not, and not honestly, like not in a way that it's like schmoozing because of the client, genuine, like never was it schmoozing. It was a genuine interest in like, how's your son? How's your wife? And they'd always have a joke. Like it was just, and they just adored her, because what I realized is that most people when they're at work are going through like, it's boring. It's like, you know, it's the same thing. It's monotonous. And I just watched my mum walk into a space and bring light and energy and enthusiasm. And also just like she sees people, and she would always make even the people that would be left out feel the most comfortable all the time. There's like, if someone was in the office and they were quiet and shy, she would walk straight up to them and be like, "How's your day going?" Or like, do you know, she's an angel on the earth. But I saw that, and I saw people just be so excited to see her because she really brought something to that business relationship that was deeper than just exchanging services. And so like there was these like maintenance clients I had in Melbourne, Southwest. They're a marketing kind of company and I used to go there every Friday and water the plants. And it was just the best. They had the best staff. They would always have like rosé in the afternoons, and we'd always have a laugh. And it was like the most, I used to look forward going, I used to hate watering everyone else's jobs, but I would love going to their place because we've just had this relationship that was beyond, you know, like a business one kind of thing. And I think what people, it's so important. And it's actually, I think, the most lost art of business.
Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. Have the best day. And yeah, it's just honestly, I find you very motivating and inspiring. And I just like how real and authentic you are. And yeah, thank you for sharing that with us as well. I'm sure a lot of people will resonate.